Welcome to the Cork Creative Podcast. With this podcast, we hope to promote local creative businesses and people. I am your host, Jordan Hennessy from Flux Learning, and today I am joined by Rita Holding of RH Vintage Interiors in the very fitting surroundings of Fernhill House Hotel in Clonakilty. In this episode, we discuss the growth of Rita's passion for vintage items, from visiting Sunday markets in London in her early 20s to setting up her vintage furniture business from a shed in her garden through to opening her roadside shop in Connana. Despite the challenges of Brexit and with her husband Ian by her side to lend his expertise in furniture restoration, they have created a treasure trove filled with beautiful furniture, lighting and unusual knickknacks. Rita's previous career in banking and a head for accounts has ensured that their business has gone from strength to strength. She imparts some sage advice along with how she is able to resist the temptation to keep everything she finds. So you're very welcome to Cork Creative, Rita.
Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
How did you get into dealing with vintage furniture?
I think it goes back to when I was in London. I was brought up on a farm in Durris and I was recruited into banking at the age of 17. So I was living in central London, Russell Square, for 6 years from the age of 17 in Banks Halls of Residence. I used to kind of spend my Sunday mornings in Covent Garden and Camden Market and Portobello Road, places like that. They were all walking distance from where I lived. It just gradually over the years, I never bought new. I just loved vintage clothes. I loved just vintage knickknacks and stuff like that. And it so happened that my husband's English and he had the same passion. It was just something, I'd say it belonged to England really, because there's fantastic selections. And we just loved it. Anywhere, even on holidays, we used to drive our sons simple because they'd be on the beach or out in the water and we'd be scouting around looking for vintage shops.
Yeah.
And I loved car boot sales in England as well.
They're big, aren't they, over there?
They're just fantastic. But it was mainly like vintage markets. And, I remember in Canada and the US on holiday, we really drove them simple. We were looking, we'd be picking up American number plates and all this kind of thing. But it's more like even not buying, just enjoying.
Yeah.
Having a look around. And I suppose the banter as well.
Yeah.
With stall holders and stuff like that. And I like to talk too.
Very good. That's good sign for us here today. So what kind of services do you offer then, Rita?
So I do a lot of chalk painting. I wouldn't paint everything. I wouldn't paint an antique or something like that. But I mainly do a lot of commissions for people. And I use Rust-Oleum and Annie Sloan paints, mainly Annie Sloan. But my husband restores furniture for people. So he does the restoration side. We both do the purchasing and stuff like that. But it is basically providing vintage, antique furniture and interiors and furniture restoration. He does French polishing and stuff like that. We don't do upholstery.
Okay.
But it's just another skill. So it's furniture restoration, painting, just providing what we do really.
Can you just explain a little bit about chalk painting? What's that about?
Chalk painting, probably the last 7 or 8 years, has been really popular. I like the kind of uneven finish. It's got an uneven finish. You can't paint something in chalk paint that's pristine. A lot of the time, depending on the character of the furniture, I only slightly distress it. Yeah, it's just got that kind of shabby chic feel. But I do mess with colours and I mix colours and stuff like that. But it really depends. I tend to just paint small pieces because I really believe that, I know interior designers might argue with this, but I really believe that if you're decorating a room, you should start with purchasing and sourcing a unique piece of furniture and work out from that. I think once you source a few nice pieces, the colour of the walls come afterwards.
Yeah.
And I think also there should be a pop-up colour in every room.
Yeah.
Not massive or anything like that, but a pop-up colour, and the fun I have doing that. But I suppose I give a lot of colour advice as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes even if they're not so sure about buying a particular piece, I tell them, send me a picture of your room and exactly where it's going to go. There's so many add-on bits like that, you know?
Yeah. And with such a focus now on climate change and the move away from fast fashion and furniture, do you feel people are becoming more accepting of the idea of upcycling and rehoming good quality furniture?
Absolutely. I've noticed during the pandemic, for example, luckily I was one of those that still was busy. Yeah, I suppose because I had a website and stuff like that. But I noticed a huge shift amongst the couples in their 30s and 40s, people that have bought new houses, people that are renting older new houses. A lot of our customers, an increasing number of them are young. But we really notice that there's a greater appreciation of older, well-made furniture. They're looking for well-made furniture. I know, myself included, I was allergic to kind of the old brown furniture. But what I noticed amongst the young, and I probably do it myself as well, some of them have a gorgeous patina. It really depends on the shade of this brown furniture that you stock. And there's some stunning pieces. And there's an increasing demand for mahogany.
Yeah, it's coming back.
It's coming back. And another thing is mid-century is really in vogue. It's really come back. Art Deco as well, a little bit of that. But I always say to people, you can mix old and new as long as it's tastefully done.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, the pleasure we get out of saving something.
Yeah.
Or my husband started off his career in London building steel fabricated boats on the River Thames, and he ended up, anyway, working for British Petroleum in an office for years, you know, doing high-level analytics, multinationals and that. God, he is so pleased to be back doing engineering, really, and restoration.
Yeah.
He's absolutely in his element, and he's good at it.
That's good, yeah.
So, like, if he's restoring something, see if he's restoring an old kitchen table, it is taken apart every single bit and laid out, and he puts it back together.
Wow.
By using dowels and all the rest. But what is really exciting is the amount of young people looking for vintage and antique.
It's a good sign. And with the rise, I suppose, in hybrid working and remote working, have you seen an increase in demand for vintage items that can be used in a home office?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When the first lockdown happened, the demand for office desks was massive.
Really, yeah.
I wouldn't be able to count the amount that I sourced.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just, any particular type. It was everything from tiny little desks to directors' desks and just every kind, ladies' desks, antique ladies' desks that look cool.
Yeah.
It was incredible. It slowed down now, the office desks, but people are upgrading their office desks as well. But it was funny.
And I suppose like off those type of office desks, they add so much character to a space, don't they? They're beautiful.
Yeah. You can get some amazing old desks. Yeah, so well made. But every shape and size of desk was sourced.
Yeah, very good. You met the demand, so. And you opened a new premises in Framery. How did you find that experience?
Opening the new premises was fantastic.
Really?
So I've been looking for roadside premises probably for about 3 years. People were saying to me, well, why don't you move into the town and this, that and the other. I didn't want a town premises. First of all, it's hard, loading and unloading and you don't have the space. I just wanted a roadside premises. And luckily, I phoned up the owner of this premises one day and it was available. And parking outside is just incredible.
Yeah.
Everyone says it's so easy, especially like the older people. They say if they're on their own, they say it's so easy to pull up. But we have a storage shed out the back, which is fantastic. And 2 big parts of the shop, separate kind of rooms that roll into each other. And it was just fantastic. So November and December were ridiculously busy. And I was working by myself. So my husband left his job and joined me, which I wouldn't be able to do it without him because of the different skills we have, really.
Yeah.
So 19th of February we opened. So we kind of turned it around in 6 weeks.
Oh, good. Yeah.
We did the painting and my husband did the electrics and stuff like that. The first thing we put in was Wi-Fi and the security cameras and stuff like that. It was still a bit of a pipe dream at Christmas, but we opened on the 19th of February and the reception is fantastic.
Great.
Has been fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just going tremendously well.
It's a perfect location for you, isn't it? Like it was like it was made for you.
Yeah.
It's like with the type of business that you need, you do need space, like don't you? It's like, and it's literally on the road. You just see it, like, and it's nice where it is because you can just pop in. Like people if they're passing, go, oh look, like you did when you were probably in England or whatever. Popped in. So it's nice it's easily
I think
accessible.
the shop that we have now is the type of shop over the years I'd have gone into in England.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's great. We can on a dry day we can put loads of stuff outside and things like that. But I think the thing that I enjoy the most is the conversations you overhear in the shop. Oh, remember Granny Peggy used to have one of these.
Yeah.
It's amazing the memories that are evoked.
Yeah. From
everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or grannies telling their grandchildren, this was for this. Uncle Jack used to have one of these. And, opening the shop was brilliant. The first day was mental. And, people were really kind, even neighbours and stuff like that, bringing in flowers and chocolates and stuff like that. And since then, just the reception's been brilliant.
Great. Yeah.
One of my main aims is to keep the quality up. So I do spend money on what I source. Keep the quality up and find things that are a bit unusual. And we have lots of fun doing that. We source throughout the island of Ireland.
Yeah.
It's I love it. And the people that you meet are incredible.
Good. And you have a good, I suppose, network of suppliers and all that built up, have you?
See, I suppose over the last 5 years, I started it 5 years ago, and from a purpose-built workshop in my garden in Roscarbery, and you get to know all the dealers around Ireland. You build up a relationship with the auctioneers, buying auction houses all over Ireland, Northern Ireland. You also have people that turn up, stuff in their boots and say, are you interested in this? Yeah, and that's not every day, but every other day, you have people turning up. And after the markets, sometimes the stall holders call in and they'll show us what they have or whatever. It's everywhere, really.
Yeah.
We say no to a lot of stuff as well.
Just want to keep
specifically what sells in the shop and just to keep the quality.
Good, yeah. So you're like quality control as well. So.
Yeah. It is fun. I enjoy it.
So I suppose it kind of that leads into kind of my next question about how do you source your pieces?
What I used to do was go to about 4 times a year to international dealer fairs in the UK, which was great fun. These are massive fairs and they'd come in from all over Europe and you just get really unusual stuff from Hungary, the Netherlands, just everywhere. And of course, I did all the Brexit courses that were kindly supplied by the Enterprise Board and stuff like that. But the whole importing process is just way too complicated. So just to give you an example, if I went to the UK and I bought 15 different styles of chairs, I'd have to have a registered commodity code for every single one of those chairs. Because they have varying design. So what would happen then, say if I have a van and a trailer load, it could easily, because of one item, be stopped and I might not get it for a couple of months.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So we decided, no, there's enough supply. And what's happening is there's a circular supply coming from the UK anyway into the north and it's coming down south. But what's interesting is one of the auction houses in the north that I I get really good quality stuff from. They said to me, it's a family-run business, that the majority of their business is in the Republic.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, so the auction's happening in Northern Ireland, because he said the money is not in the north, it's in the south.
Mm-hmm.
So he said 90% of their business is in the going to the Republic.
Gosh, so is it mainly so now in Ireland and the north that you would source?
All over Ireland,
yeah.
The island of Ireland.
Okay.
And I've no problem sourcing.
Great, okay.
Do you know, which is good. I was a bit worried about that. We might later on this year, just for a bit of fun, or in the spring next year, go to France.
France there must be loads of beautiful furniture.
There's beautiful stuff, but you have to weigh in the cost as well. At the moment, this stuff is arriving in Ireland. Somehow.
Yeah.
But it's like a circle of flow. People still go out of the Republic and come in through the north. But I haven't done that. But I will. Again, it'll be kind of a bit of a holiday.
Yeah. And tell us a little about the best piece you've ever found.
I think one of the best pieces I've ever found was an Aylesbury chair. Mm-hmm. So Aylesbury chairs were made by an Irish company years and years ago. And they are like teacher's chairs.
Okay.
So there's a little shelf in front of you to put a book on. When you sit down, you just flap it over. You can just put the book on this wooden flap in front of you. But the design is stunning. So I bought it. I didn't buy it in an auction. I bought it off somebody in North Cork who had bought it in an auction but didn't have any backstory in it. It was stamped UCC underneath.
Okay.
And it had the Aylesbury kind of detail and all that on it. So anyway, I sold it on, and it was bought immediately by somebody who lived in Wicklow and drove down to West Cork for it.
Okay.
So anyway, about 6 months later, the vicar in Rosscarbery contacted me and said his wife was a direct descendant of the Aylesbury family. Is there any way I could source another one? Because she desperately wanted a chair like this. So I put her in touch with people in Wicklow.
Yeah.
But I said they don't really have any more information about where it's lived and stuff like that. But I do regret selling that.
Really?
But I know that I will find. It's a bit like, people say to me, it must be tempting to hang on to stuff if you find something nice. But it's not, because, you just think business. You're acquiring it and you're passing it on. I mean, the odd thing I have kept, but you don't, because I say in my head, there's another one exists somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. If you really
that's
want
how
it.
I settle my head. There's another one somewhere.
You let them go knowing that if you ever want it again, you'll probably find one. And what is the easiest piece of furniture that can be given a new lease of life?
I'd say a sideboard or a wardrobe.
Okay.
Yeah, just really easy to do. So what Ian would do is he'd restore it, What he says a lot is he spends a lot of his time unravelling other people's restoration, where it's just been really badly done. Yeah, and then restoring it properly. But I would say a sideboard.
Okay.
And the thing about a sideboard is if it's painted in a nice colour, or not even painted, if it's properly done and finished off properly and polished appropriately and stuff like that, it'll look amazing in a room. And I'm sure a lot of them have gone to the recycling centres over the years.
Gosh, I know. It's awful to think of it, isn't
Or
it?
skips.
I know. Skips, the dreaded skip, isn't it?
One day I was talking a couple of months ago, I had mentoring sessions with guys in the enterprise board. And this guy designs websites. He told me that he pulled, on his way to work, he pulled a sideboard out of a skip. That's why he was late. Of course, he loved mentoring me on my website because of the conversation.
Yeah, of course.
But I just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
He said he did it by himself. He pulled it out of a skip. He was absolutely thrilled with himself. But I think also, like when we started off years ago, I think we were 24 or 25, we bought our first one-bedroom flat in Kingston in Surrey. And I remember then not being able to afford to furnish it. So we used to just get stuff in markets and stuff like that. I think that probably started it all off as well.
Yeah.
You know, furnishing my own place. And then, I mean, I love negotiating now, but I remember when I was much younger, walking into an antique shop in Chertsey in Surrey, and there was a beautiful, small, old pine bench, and maybe it was up for sale for like 120 or something like that. And it was after the school run. So we walk in anyway, and my husband's with me, and he said to me, "Oh, I'll offer 60 quid. And I'm going, "No way, you can't do that." And I left the shop. I was so embarrassed. He went off to the cash point and took out 60 quid only, right? And I was down the street. I was mortified. And he came out with his bench for 60 quid, yeah? And he had no leeway. He just had the 60 quid, yeah? And I remember how embarrassed I was then. And now, you know, I love when people negotiate. Do you know what I mean? But I'm just thinking I must have come a little way since.
I know. You learned a lot,
I still have that old pine bench in my kitchen.
Gosh.
And I wouldn't part with it probably because of the story attached to it.
Yeah, exactly. But isn't that lovely that, you know, old pieces of furniture, they either, you know, when you look at them, they conjure up so many memories, or if you see another piece in maybe like a shop like yours, that it brings back memories of maybe, even though it mightn't be the same piece, that just, as you said, like brings up stories.
People love the backstory.
Yeah, that's it.
So if it's a special piece, I always try and ask the auctioneer, look, what kind of a house did this come out of? Where, you know, location-wise. They just want, people just want to know anything about it.
Yeah.
So anything at all to do with a backstory, they absolutely love it.
Yeah. It's part of the whole romance of the furniture, isn't it? Yeah. And when does a piece of furniture become vintage? Is it like a cars where after a certain number of years?
If it's over 100 years, it's an antique piece. Yeah. So anything more than 20 years old would be considered, 20, 30 years old would be considered vintage. Okay. So like 80s backwards type thing.
And would it be mainly vintage furniture that you would deal with?
No.
Or is it more?
No, it's equally antique.
Okay.
I started off with vintage.
Okay.
And then I ventured into antique. So now it's antique, vintage furniture, and also interiors like lighting.
Okay, oh yeah.
We sell a lot of industrial lighting. So Ian will buy wrecked heaters, heater lamps, and transform them into lights.
Oh, wow.
So we stock generally some really unusual lighting, but it's stuff that he has transformed.
Because I think, actually, I like that piques my interest now, because I think that there's a big problem with lighting, you know, finding good, nice lighting. It's all so mundane and boring.
We sold one recently that was made out of petrol pump.
Okay.
You know, filler.
Oh, yeah.
With the nozzle. It was amazing. It was for an office desk, yeah. But what's really, really popular are the old designer angle pies lamps.
Yeah.
For desks. There was one day the other day that we sold two, and they were just amazing. And what's really popular is, you know, the bright yellows and bright blues.
Yeah.
You know, these are 50 or 60 years old.
Yeah.
But they are the coolest ever.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
I got a couple in the shop at the moment that are sailboats.
Oh, cool.
And the sails and all that are on there. And they're table lamps. But yeah, they just take normal bulbs and stuff like that. But what's become really popular are the vintage and antique oil lamps.
Oh, yes, yeah.
The wall-mounted ones, very popular for barbecue areas.
Oh, yeah.
The normal just oil table lamps. People are putting them in their living rooms. Again, barbecue areas and stuff like that. But they come in all different colours. So they're really cool. But the best thing about it is, you know, you don't have to use paraffin anymore.
Okay.
Because you can get lamp oil in a lot of good hardware stores.
Okay.
And it doesn't burn black.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know, it doesn't smell.
Yeah.
So it's better for the environment anyway. You don't have to burn, even a tilly lamp, you don't have to put paraffin in it anymore.
Okay, yeah.
So we have a lot of fun with oil lamps. But again, it's the colour.
Yeah, that's it.
Some of them are just gorgeous.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a good demand for things like that. It's just
There's 7 girls and 2 boys in my family. And I'm the 8th child, so the youngest girl. I remember doing my homework using tilly lamps, being a bit embarrassed because we were late getting electricity. And my father wouldn't allow us to have a TV because he thought no work would get done on the farm, this kind of crap. But we eventually had one maybe when I was an early teenager. Yeah, I remember doing homework in the tilly lamps. Yeah. But they're all coming back.
Back, isn't it? It's all about these cycles, isn't it?
And they're not like old-fashioned, depressing looking. Yeah. They got great colour.
Yeah,
a lot of the eye lamps and that.
Yeah. So they've been rejuvenated. A new lease of life for the tilly lamp.
Yeah, so if I look at tilly lamp in a shop, it just brings back homework.
Oh, that's
And the other funny thing, you can have a lot of fun as well in the shop. I stock a number of school bells.
Oh, yeah?
Cool.
Okay.
Good quality antique and vintage school bells. And it is so funny, sometimes you get a guy coming in and, your instinct is to ring the bell.
Yeah.
And he'll either go really depressed. Yeah, you'll say, is that a good or a bad memory? And he'll go, oh, Lord above. Or you get another person that'll just smile when they ring the bell. Yeah. They have good school memories. Yeah. So I laugh. The school bell causes a lot of fun. But amongst our generation,
not so
much. I think my son's generation, I got 2 sons, they're 21 and 23. I reckon when they look back in their school days, they'll have great memories.
Memories, yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll just remember the cane.
Thank God those days are done anyway. And what pieces of furniture are timeless and are always in vogue?
I think a fairly simple, non-fussy wardrobe. Yeah. Sideboards. Again, non-fussy sideboard. But I think a fairly simple, antique sideboard will never, ever, ever date. With a nice patina, not too dark. But the thing that I think will always be in vogue is decent old pine. Yeah. So many people are looking for like anything old pine. But what I've noticed is it's very hard to get good old pine in this country. Yeah. And there's a shortage of supply. A lot of mine comes from Northern Ireland. But some of it is because our houses in the Republic were damp. They weren't as damp in the north. And it bred woodworm. So there's a lot of woodworm and stuff like that. So I'm really careful what I source. But I noticed there's a big difference in the north with old pine. Everyone is looking for old pine dressers. Yeah. Old pine kitchen tables. You could sell them all day long.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But with the door.
Yeah.
So hard to source.
Find them, yeah.
But that, I'd say old pine probably.
Okay.
And decent mahogany, antique, will never date.
Yeah. They're always Yeah. And what are the challenges of restoring and upcycling?
I think you have to start off with a nice piece. You have to start off with quality. If I painted, like I'll say no to modern cheap furniture because it's, first of all, not proper wood. It's very hard to paint. Yeah. It's very hard to get a proper finish. There aren't many really, as long as you stick to quality.
Okay. So the base line for
just
you
has
would be
to be half decent.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. And how can people preserve their favourite pieces of furniture against the likes of woodworm? Keep
the area dry. The room has to be dry. If there's any dampness, it's going to breed woodworm. So, and I think most modern houses now, most houses are okay. But I treat everything twice. Stuff that hardwoods won't ever have woodworm. Okay. But the softwood woods are. But if you ever suspect, that if you buy something, you suspect that there could be woodworm or whatever, just treat it.
Okay.
Don't let it join your other family
Okay.
collection of pieces.
Yeah.
You know, just sort it. The smell goes after a few days once you treat something.
Okay.
But a way that you can tell as well whether it's woodworm is if there's woodworm holes in it.
Yeah.
A lot of the time it's dead woodworm. Yeah. And it's the piece hasn't got active woodworm. The way you can tell that is tapping it. And if powder comes out, it's active.
Okay.
You know?
Say the woodworm is no longer active, the piece can be used, can it? Or?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But you see, it's experience knowing again the thing. If you wait, just even if it's dead and you don't know, just treat it.
Okay. Yeah.
Peace of mind.
So you're helping safeguard all the furniture for the future.
I don't know about that.
And what are the biggest business challenges you face?
Ooh, that's a tricky one. I think you just have to keep your eye on the ball with the accounts. Luckily, I did a business administration degree in London years ago, and that really, really helped me. You know, it helps me now because I do all the accounts, and then year-end stuff, I work with the accountant, keep an up-to-date cash flow forecast. My husband keeps a close eye on the margins, you know, for everything. Luckily, he's really versed in Excel. He knows all these formulas and this kind of thing. But I think you just have to keep the costs down. Yeah. Like with us, we have our electricity. You can imagine now, with everything gone up, is high, our electricity bill. But with the lighting and stuff like that. But generally, where you can, keep your costs down. And that's it, really. And just know your numbers. Yeah. Know your figures. Know what you make every week. Know what your profits are. Yeah.
Keep an eye on all those kind of things, I suppose, just so they don't go way.
Keep a certain margin.
Yeah. And it must be good to have the two of you in it together. You know, that you must be a good
We're
support.
fairly versed. I mean, I would be experienced with accounts. Ian is brilliant with just the day-to-day numbers, margins and stuff like that. You know, he keeps a cash flow forecast up to date. But I just think you really do have to. If somebody asks you, like an accountant or a bank, you know, your turnovers and all that, you do need to know your figures.
Yeah, very good.
You need to understand it.
Yeah, exactly.
And not totally leave it to someone else to understand.
Not put your head in the sand as such. Completely. And what are your plans for the future?
Plans for the future. I think I'll just let it settle for a year or so. But next year, hopefully, we'll invest in a coffee van and we'll have coffee outside. And I suppose just persevere with new products and stuff like that. Yeah, I just want to kind of let it evolve. But next year we'll definitely work on coffee and tea. And
well, I suppose to be fair, you've had a busy year now with opening a shop.
So one of the things I've done for the last 5 years, and I absolutely love it, is I've done the Ballymaloe Craft Fair.
Oh, yes.
In November. And they asked me if I would do, this year they had a summer one. It was the first time they've done it. But, you know, I said to them, I'll definitely do the November one. Somehow I managed that.
Yeah.
Now they have it over 2 weekends in November and it is just brilliant.
Yeah.
But it was too close to the shop opening to do the summer one.
Yeah.
But I think every year I'll just do the winter one. But what I love about it, last year they gave us our own shop space.
Oh, lovely.
So the bar area that they use for the weddings, it's like a temporary bar that they set up. They cleared out the bar and all the bits and they gave me the whole room as a shop and it was brilliant. 2 weekends. But they left us leave the stuff up there.
Okay.
For the second weekend.
Yeah.
And you find the same customers coming back.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's great for marketing.
Yeah.
You know, it's great for marketing because they usually have 6 or 7 attending the Ballymaloe Craft Fair. But we have a lot of fun. Yeah. This year, one of us will hopefully get one of my sons to help. Yeah. You know, one of us will man the shop and the other will go to Ballymaloe. But that's the only fair I do. Yeah. But it's just fun.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. It sounds, to be fair, like you have a lot of fun in your business.
Yeah.
What is the most valuable thing that you've learned over the years?
I think if you're switching, say, like we did, from corporate careers and going into business, don't resign too early. I said this to somebody the other day who works in finance and really doesn't like her job. The tip I shared with her was, build your idea, but keep your bread and butter income. Yeah? Even if it takes 2 or 3 years, save up your money, keep your job, develop your idea. Yeah? And then you can put, 100% crossover.
Yeah.
But do the courses that the Enterprise Board offer. They have been invaluable to me, especially during the lockdown.
Yeah.
And most, business women I know did all the courses, online marketing, become up to date with and as savvy as you can with Instagram and Facebook, and build your Facebook business page. You don't need a website straight away. I mean, mine's currently neglected a little bit because of time managing it, but that'll be an aim actually in the next 6 months to get my website back up to date. But do all the courses that you can do. Network Ireland, join Network Ireland. It is absolutely brilliant. It's an annual membership. You meet once a month. It was a brilliant way for me to get to know people. But another thing I did, which I think, I know you only asked me for one.
No, you're great.
Another thing I did was the Enterprise Board business course.
Yeah.
You can do the beginners one. This one was 12 weeks, 1 day a week. And there was 11 girls that did it. And you probably know a lot of them. And we did it in Dunmanway, maybe about 3 years ago. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm still in touch with the mentors that did it. And most of the girls, like in fact, every one of them have made a success of their business. They've become known.
Yeah.
So we set up a WhatsApp group on the last day, and the support in that WhatsApp group, like, oh, please, does anyone know how to do this? Or has anyone tried this? Yeah. It is fantastic. So I'd say if you can do an Enterprise Board course, business course.
So it's not just like, I suppose, the formal support like that, the Enterprise Board, it's also those informal kind of groups that can be born out of it, that can be just an amazing support for people.
That's where Network Ireland come in. I think it can be quite lonely working by yourself. So if you've got to know other people in the same situation, it's fantastic. There's a social aspect to it as well. Do you know what I mean? And you can just ask questions because we're all following the same route. We're all learning the same things. Yeah. But there's so much to learn. Remain teachable, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Rita, for joining us today on the Cork Creative Podcast.
An absolute pleasure.
Great.
Thank you so, so much.
If you'd like to learn more about Rita and what she offers, you can find links to her website and social media on corkcreative.ie.